Welcome back, good friends. Excuse me while I clean the bay between jobs. We pull in the next car, which is a 1996 Porsche Carrera 4S. And since I'm getting footage for the owners, I'd love to see the paint rescue process. I'm going to show you as well. Give you some tips and tricks and maybe pass along a few nuggets you can incorporate into your paint rescue process. We have a classic, an antique car here, mid 90s, so why test the seals if we don't have to? Sure, if the car's been stored for 20, 30 years, you can use a pressure washer and flood the panels a bit more, but no need here, just lightly soiled, a little bit of grittiness. We'll use the Hydra rinseless wash from Phoenix EOD, 256 to 1. I have it in the bucket, and the keg with the hose as well. This is an absolute gorgeous color, the Arena Red Metallic, the Super Acrylic 1K, color code 84S. I'll show you, once we get the cleaning process out of the way, what we're going after, but I can tell you a quick hint, the clear, and yes, it's clear, on the cusp of when they transition from single stage to clear coat in the mid-90s. This is cleared, and it's thin and soft, as you can imagine. From what I'm told, and we will be able to tell the whole story with the paint depth gauge and gloss meter, but the rear driver's side quarter panel is the only thing that has been blended in and repainted. Everything else original paint. And with my furry companion by my side, keeping an eye on me, let's kick this off. It's not going to take long at all to get this thing cleaned up. The wheels, same process, rinseless wash. It doesn't get driven a whole bunch, and there's not a lot of brake dust that is baked on or caked onto the wheels, so you can do the whole vehicle with the rinseless wash method. All freshened up, dried. Let's come in closer and see if we can find some of the defects that we're going to be working on, the imperfections and a little bit of damage. We have etching, we have swirls, scratches. We have areas that somebody tried to do a little bit of touch up. We have oxidation, overall dullness. We want to bring out the beautiful metallic red color and make it pop. But the first thing we're going to have to do is clean up the clear coat. In some areas, we could see where it is very thin, like right here, there is a little bit of, you could see the shade of what's underneath, which is the primer. So we have to be very, very careful in some areas. Peaks, body lines, a lot of these areas are thin to begin with, and over time, they get thinner as Mother Nature gets a hold of them. We have a little bit of PPF that has been ripped into, and it actually dented the surface underneath, so we're going to remove the PPF, do PDR work. There's some other bumps, bruises, and little dings to take care of. Up top we have more staining, etching, scratching, and some poor fill-in paint chip work. Around the moldings, we have scratches, and this is consistent all the way around the vehicle, by the way. The paint protection film damaged over here as well, and since we were cutting one side, we're going to replace and make both sides brand new again with new shark fins, and we'll really do a close inspection all the way around, and it's pretty much the same. Now, I don't know the full history and the story behind this vehicle, but the paint depth gauge can help shape a little bit of the background, and we want to see how much finish we have to work with. Now, keep in mind, back in the day, the primer layer and the color layer was very thick and not much of a clear layer to speak of. Thicker than nowadays, but especially on this fender here, there's not a whole lot to play with. We're going to have to be very careful in certain areas. There's a huge jump up in thickness as we get to the driver's side rear quarter panel, and it was mentioned that there was a little bit of blending in and some work done back here, so that makes sense. Everything else looks normal for what Mother Nature has put it through all these years. So at this point, we've seen the damage. We know how much material we have to work with. We should already have a game plan together when it comes to the combinations of correction fluids, pads, and a polisher. Now we just need to reaffirm the hardness of the clear coat, and by doing a test spot, which I do on every vehicle, even if I'm familiar with the finish, that really cements the team that we're going to pick to attack this Porsche. The gloss meter just reaffirms what I'm looking at, put some numbers behind it, and we're looking at jumping at least 10 gloss units before it leaves the shop. Everybody does things just a little bit differently. Here I'm going to start to remove everything that can get in the way of the paint correction. And while doing that, you can get access to areas that need to be cleaned, and that will definitely please the owner. Debadging will also be part of the process on this package. We have many packages we can offer to a customer, and we customize packages for both the taste of the owner, how far he wants to go, and the budget. And with this particular package, minor disassembly. We can do no disassembly, we can do minor disassembly, or we can do major or complete disassembly. It's completely up to how far the owner wants to go. So obviously when you debadge, there's always going to be a little bit of the double-sided tape or the adhesive holding the badge on, and that takes a little bit of either tar remover or adhesive or glue remover to get it off. All set, everything out of the way on the whale tail back here. We can do a complete correction with nothing getting in the way. Let's swing around to the front of the car and remove that emblem that is 2 8mm nuts underneath. Pull that off to expose more dirt. Citral 266 to the rescue. So obviously not only just to clean the dirt underneath, but we can do correction without having to bump up against an emblem and not getting complete coverage of the correction. We want to get underneath so there's no definitive line where we stopped. The little bumperettes here need to be removed. You can see not only dirt, but they vibrate against the paint, leave a mark, and it just needs to be corrected. Front and back, and really the best way to do this is to disassemble everything before the wash process if the package is picked at that point. Moving right along nice and smooth, time to address the paint protection film. We need to remove that. We need to get it out of the way. The shop manager does not like removing paint protection film, and it can be sketchy removing from a vehicle that has aged like this, and when the film's been on there for more than a decade. You really need to be careful with warmth, heat, steam, whatever suits you, but just be careful. You don't want to pull up film with paint attached to it. That would be a bad day. A sigh of relief, all of the yellowed film now removed with no damage whatsoever. And it's time to, well, you're always going to have a little bit of adhesive left to battle afterwards, but when it comes to adhesive from paint protection film, I love the Rapid Remover. You can find it on Amazon. Spray it on, give it a few minutes to do its job, scrape it off carefully, and then flush. No matter if it's Citral 266 Rapid Remover or any tar and adhesive remover, flush immediately after. I like to do that with a rinseless wash. Moving along nicely, we now have an area that is ready for some paintless dent repair, and that's coming soon. We are already approaching the 13-minute mark. We have paintless dent repair on the way. I'm going to stop here. We'll pick up in the next video where we left off.